The State of Crypto is presented by Tron, connecting the world to the power of cryptocurrency.
Filecoin's price has rebounded after the SEC asked Grayscale to withdraw its application to make its Filecoin Trust product more like a public company. Now, for those of you at home who don't know, Grayscale is owned by DCG, which also owns, for the time being, CoinDesk. So, here to discuss it a little more is none other than CoinDesk Global Policy and Regulation Managing Editor Nick Day, who is also the editor of perhaps Washington, D.C.'s most important newsletter, and that is CoinDesk State of Crypto's newsletter. Welcome, Nick.
Good morning.
Good morning. So walk us through what happened between the SEC and Grayscale. And again, Grayscale owned by DCG. DCG owns CoinDesk, just in case we didn't have enough disclosure. Go.
Yeah, so the story actually begins last month when Grayscale announced in a public filing for its FIL trust that the SEC said it might be a security. That seems to have culminated up to this week when Grayscale announced in another filing that the SEC actually asked it to withdraw its application to convert the FIL Grayscale trust, the application to turn that into a public reporting company. And so obviously the implications are the SEC believes FIL might be a security, and it believes it strongly enough to the point where it doesn't want to allow a product that has FIL as a core thing be a publicly traded vehicle.
Well, it sounds, don't get me wrong, but everything to the SEC is a security these days, isn't it? But anyway, in a press release, Grayscale said it doesn't believe FIL is a security. So ultimately, what's this going to mean for Filecoin? Like, what's the bottom line for Filecoin itself?
Obviously, the big concern for there's really two different parties here, right? There's the Filecoin entities, the foundation, whoever created the token, they're probably facing down the potential barrel of an SEC enforcement action. Although, to be fair, the SEC has called a number of cryptocurrency securities in recent months and not yet brought enforcement actions against any of their issuers. But it's always a concern if you're in that position. The other side is if you're an FIL investor and you have tokens or you've put money into it, then you're under risk of potentially seeing an SEC enforcement action, which could either freeze your funds or cause your tokens to lose their value. So a lot of concerns for investors here, but it's going to come down to what the SEC does next, whether it takes action against the Filecoin Foundation or if it decides to bring a lawsuit against, for example, an exchange that listed the token, or if it goes some other third-party route.
All right. Well, all I have to say is AI. We didn't say those two letters in this segment, and I think
time to pivot.
Yeah, pivot.
Lawrence has to get the buzzwords in.
AI, blockchain, NFT.
Nick, it's always a pleasure hearing from you. That was CoinDesk Global Policy and Regulation Managing Editor Nick Day. Don't forget to sign up for the State of Crypto newsletter on CoinDesk.com.